Hello guys and welcome back to Tomato GFX. Today we are going to talk about our transparency panel and gradient panel a little bit. This is the 15th lecture in our series and you can watch the previous videos in the playlist. So stay tuned and let's head on to Illustrator. So welcome back to the magical world of Illustrator, and here we can see our gradient panel. So we have talked about gradient panel in a bit, but I'll be just talking about some few things about gradient panel, and these are very essential for us and we will be using them very much. So as you can see, we can apply a gradient by just creating a shape, and then we can just select the gradient here like this or anything we want, or we can customize our gradient according to our need. With the first gradient tab, we have a linear gradient, we have a circular gradient, and we have a freeform gradient. So we'll be exploring our linear gradient first. So talking about our linear gradient, we can just change the color according to our need. We can change every point and we can add a point or we can subtract a point, like just clicking on it and dragging it below, and your point will be removed, and you can just remove every point you don't like, or you can just click on this button over here, so you can delete the steps between the gradient, and you can remove your strokes so it gives a better look. Because if you're creating gradient and it has a border, sometimes it makes some messy stuff also. So always use your gradient like this, and this was your linear gradient, as simple as that. And now you can just edit your gradient according to your edit tool. Like you can just edit it with the gradient tool over here, and you can just rotate it, change the position, anything you want in this field, or you can add your points over here. And it has this button over here, we can reverse our gradient completely, and this is very useful in many ways when you are creating some images and transparency. So I'll be discussing that also. Here you can see we have a location panel, so we can set the location of this step, and this is very useful when we are creating some specific golden line and golden gradient. So I'll be just creating some gradients over here, and for example, you can see this golden ring over here. It has so many points, so many little points over here, and they are on a specific range. And if I just change the middle blend, then we can just edit our gradient type and smoothness of the gradient. And if I just clip it on, we can create some different designs also. So that's according to you. You have a specific location creator, so you can create and make these precise gradient options. We can just change it according to our need. You can just clearly change it according to you. You can see we have created something which is not bad. It is what it is. So this was a radial gradient. If I just click on this, it will be a linear gradient now, and we can see our gradient is very specific and easy. And this is kind of a border, and we can just use it to create a border around the thing. You can use gradients wherever you like, and I mainly use gradients for creating a depth, so that's what I use for. You can use according to your need. So this was our gradient, and after that we have a radial gradient which has the same property but a different property here. And this is the difference between normal gradient and radial gradient, that we have a radius shear property where we can shear how the circle will be created. So this is, I have told you in previous videos that we can create shadows with this. And if this was a black surface like in a center, we can just go for this and go for a gradient and then swap the color, and then we can just change the shear to 30 or 20. And now you can see our gradient is a flat shadow, and it can be arranged under anything you like. So this was our gradient, and then we have freeform gradient, which I told you about in mesh tool, but I'll be just repeating it for now. And this is very easy use freeform gradient. You can change the color, you can change the effectiveness by double clicking on it, changing the color like this, or changing the impact with this circle over here. You can increase and decrease the opacities according to you. And this was gradient panel in nutshell. One more thing about gradient panel, if you are applying gradient on strokes, you can see we have some edges over here. If I use some different gradient over edge and I just enable strokes over here, you can adjust how the gradient will be created around your square. It can be like this over the path. It can be on the path like just normal, or it can be from the path like going through the path. As you can see now, it's going like that. And if we click on this, it follows the path along the path from starting to ending. And if you click on this, it is just going according to the normal orientation of a gradient. So this was gradient panel. And after that, we have transparency panel. Transparency panel is very useful panel. We bringing a image for an example. So as here you can see, I have brought an image of a male character with the transparent background, like it has no background. And if I click on it, you can see this image in our transparency panel, or I click on anything, it will be seen in our transparency panel. So if I just click on this and just click on make mask, it will create nothing because we haven't selected the mask. So now if I click on this image and release, now if I just bring this box over here and I just overlay it like this and just change, will change the gradient afterwards. Now if I click on make mask, you can see something has happened and the mask has arranged itself. If I just click on it and change the mask, change the orientation, and now if I just go to gradient tool and change the gradient like this, here you can see we are created some kind of blending of an image where the image is blending with time, and it depends on how we have created our gradient. Like if I just have created the gradient more darker, it would have completely done it. And here you can see over here, it completely vanishes. And I can see this black is not that black. Yeah, that's better. Now the black is converted to extreme black, and then you can see the foot is completely vanished because it is in entire black, and the white region is only visible to us. And then we have to come out of this mask. Here you can see we can scale it or we can move it freely, and now this will be always like this until we release the clipping mask. Now we can invert the mask also. Now the blacks part will be visible and the whites will be removed. And for understanding the complete black or lightness of colors, we'll be just explaining it right now. Now if you select a color panel, you can see this is the original black over here, 000, and transparency panel works on 000 values or FFF values. So between these, everything will be visible. So always check that your gradient has a black color with 000 values. That was the only check we have to take in the transparency panel. And then you can create anything with the transparency panel, like changing the light mode or the dark mode. And we can understand these modes in the opacity panel also, and we'll be talking about these multiplying modes in a depth. For now you can understand that darken is for making the dark parts more prominent and the lighter parts less prominent, and the screen is or the softer parts, screen parts, are creating lighter parts more prominent and darker parts more faded. So these are vice versa, and you can just work on them. So this was our transparency panel, and with this, we'll take a leave for now, and I'll be bringing more classes in near future. So stay tuned for that, and I'll take leave now. Stay tuned. Take care.